Stop! Just take a moment to admire this background. It's gorgeous, so smooth and colorful, an excellent setting for a fun cartoon. And having both a shadow and a highlight for shading makes a difference. And the 4 levels of depth for scrolling really brings it to life. Yes, this is a fine specimen of a vector background. A background that is the opening shot to today's featured animation, Yooka-Laylee Snakey Dealings. And here is the place to watch it. Oh, where to start? How about at the end? My guess is most of you didn't get the punchline to this animation. Yooka-Laylee is a video game that is the spiritual successor to a series of games called Banjo-Kazooie. And really, only the first one is worthwhile, and it is amazing. See, even the names and typeface are a play on each other. In fact, the animation sequences in the game and the sound effects and music are so similar to Banjo-Kazooie, it's a little bit eerie. The Snakey Dealings cartoon animation based on the game is so professionally done that at first I thought it was an official release by the Yooka-Laylee video game company, but it's not. Snakey Dealings is purely fan-made, and I have to say, this is one of the best examples of vector puppet animation you could ask for. By puppet, I mean just that, a series of parts the animator moves around to create an animation. Most internet cartoons are puppets because it's faster than animating by drawing everything brand new every time. You know, like how moving a puppet with your hand is faster than making a brand new puppet for every expression you want it to have. But here's the thing. This Yooka-Laylee puppet animation is by no means simple. First of all, even though these are puppets, the animator still has to draw a new puppet for every perspective, like for the front versus the side. There's a lot of frame-by-frame animation in here too, easily seen in the snake's tongue and his tail. Many people seem to think that because it's an animation puppet, you don't have to redraw much. That's not true. The best puppet animation will have a lot of unique pieces, and it will incorporate frame-by-frame animation. Imagine the difference if, when the snake hissed, it was just the same tongue picture moving back and forth. It would be stiff. That's why so many puppet cartoons on the internet are pretty crummy if you take a look at them from an animator's perspective. They're nothing more than still images moving around the screen. And that's fine, it gets the job done, but it doesn't create as smooth of an animation as we see here in Snakey Dealings. Here's an example of the puppet pieces being swapped. Yooka's head goes instantly from the side view to a 3/4 view. It looks weird when I'm playing it one drawing at a time like this, but in the video itself, the pieces slide around in the right way to trick your eye. In a well-done puppet animation, characters will constantly be moving around, like with little bounces when they talk, or even when they're doing nothing but listening. This shot is pushing the limit here with the amount of stillness, but at least we get a blink. The animator gets away with it because the focus is on the snake. The main characters are darkened, not moving, and are viewing the scene from the same angle we are. Speaking of the animator, Jan Animations is the person behind Snakey Dealings. He has an uncanny ability to perfectly copy styles of existing cartoons. So much so that some of his fan animations have gotten him into copyright infringement trouble. So if you're an animator listening to this, just keep in mind when you're working with characters that aren't yours, you are infringing copyright. There are exceptions to that, of course, like parodies and critiques, but it's complicated. Watch the next episode about copyright, and that will really help you out. Really though, if you're making fan stuff most of the time, you don't have to worry as long as it's not for profit, so don't freak out. Anyway, it was refreshing to see original animation from Jan Animations instead of a copy of some official show style. As you could see, if he was copying the Yooka-Laylee style, it would have to be a 3D animation. Just look at how great an interpretation of the game's setting he has in the opening background. Jan Animations is spot on with translating the 3D game environment to a 2D cartoon, in a way that's original and really stands out. I think Yooka-Laylee would make a cute cartoon series in this style, even though cartoons based off of video games usually are not very good. Just a little sidestep here to some of the things you've sent me so far. Malcolm writes, I was one of the colorists on Die Young, and I can say without a shadow of a doubt that the process was immensely time-consuming if you didn't have TV Paint Pro. Those of us who didn't had to use Photoshop to color the frames individually as layers. As someone who's done an animation in Photoshop before, I completely agree. If the line art is thicker, you can get away with the wand and select Modify Expand to fill the base colors, but with the thin lines on Die Young, the best results come from outlining each piece by hand. So props to you. Here's the first portrait ever made of Scribbles the Wolf by Catchy Arts. Look at that saucy smile. Quillname's picture of me as a pup is so adorable I might puke. The grainy paper traditional art style stands out a lot in a good way. This last one is by Ravenhoof, who writes, "When I'm upset, I turn to your humor and talent. Your video with Anthony C. was hilarious. Thank you for making me laugh in times of stress and sadness." You guys are the best. Hope you enjoyed today's episode. Bye for now.